Welcome to the Sorcery Podcast, your sacred space to delve into spiritual tools, topics, and practices that will illuminate your path of soul remembering and healing. I'm your host, Ligia Costa, a soul guide, alchemist, soul writing coach, and the creator of the Trust Pathway. I'm deeply grateful to have you here with me. Together, we will embark on a profound exploration of self-discovery and healing, unlocking the secrets that lie within. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sorcery Podcast. And today I would like to talk to you about triggers. I'd like to explore the meaning of triggers and how the emotional psychology of triggers related to past traumas can impact our lives in the present moment. So, we all carry unresolved wounds that are deep within us, remnants of past traumas where we didn't feel safe, we didn't feel loved or worthy. And these wounds often manifest as stress, as anxiety, or even discomfort triggered by situations that are seemingly unrelated to the original trauma, but still act as a trigger. It's as if our bodies and our minds hold on to these negative memories and emotions that pull us back into that familiar space of pain and vulnerability. And it's quite interesting to notice when these things happen, when we are pulled back into these, familiar places, because it's like our bodies signal instantly these upsets. And it's not only just the physical sensations. We can feel hot flushes, we can start trembling, tears, obviously crying, or even having physical reactions like punching something or shouting at someone or having some sort of defensive behaviors. But also how little things that are not related at all with the wounds from the past, like a song that comes on the radio or a comment someone does or even a scent, how it can activate even uncomfortable emotions such as sadness, anger, drama, and grief, and make us feel like we are overreacting or being dramatic, but deep down we are just reacting to these emotions that don't feel safe. Although they are familiar to us, they signal to us that we are not safe, that we are back to that place where our safety, both physically and emotionally, was in danger. And that's why it's so important to recognize these reactions and recognize that these reactions stem from a deeper level, from a core wound that needs healing. That is not about being dramatic or overreacting or having anger issues like some people like to label, but is more to do with the fact that there is a deep wound that stems from somewhere in the past that still needs healing. And that's why I like to call triggers as invitations. To me, triggers are invitations to heal, invitations for healing, because they signal to us when it's time to go deeper, to embark on this inner journey of self-discovery and to explore and heal the wounds that still remain open. These triggers, these invitations, they show us when we have a wound that it's still open. It might not be bleeding anymore, but whenever we touch that wound, it still hurts. And when we physically have a wound, a cut, or some sort of wound that it's open, it might not even be bleeding, but we check on it. We check if it's getting infected, if it's red around it, if it's like creating pus. And what we do is we tend to it, right? We clean it up, we disinfect it, we change the dressing. So this is the same. With the emotional wounds, it works exactly the same. And triggers are that invitation to look into it and see what is going on, what is being infected, what needs attention, and then invite us to heal it, work on it, to clean it, disinfect it in these ways, releasing what no longer serves us, work on forgiveness, work on acceptance, work on self-love. And changing the dressing is like changing the mind patterns, changing the narrative, changing the language, creating a new perspective of how things actually happened. So that's why I like to compare it, and it makes it easier to understand why it is as important to tend to our emotional wounds as it is to tend to our physical wounds. Because when we prioritize our problems, our fears, our worries, instead of trying to ignore them, we can actually begin the process of healing. Because bottling up or avoiding emotions doesn't work. It actually may lead to physical issues. And so I cannot emphasize enough the importance of addressing the emotional wounds. And this is not to say that what we went through didn't matter. It did, and it needs to be acknowledged and validated. Because our stories hold meaning, our past holds meaning, and by understanding what happened and how it impacts us today, we can challenge our minds to embrace new perspectives, to shift the mindset, to create that new narrative that will help us change the perspective of how things happen. And this shift in the mindset allows us to reflect on our experiences and recognize that triggers aren't bad. Sometimes we think because something happened and we got triggered, which consciously not everyone is aware that is being triggered, but it's like it is bad because you're going back to a place that you thought you wouldn't go back to, or you've worked so hard to get away from. But these triggers are really a blessing because they serve as signposts that guide us towards unresolved wounds that still need our attention and that are asking for healing. And because there is this feeling that triggers are a bad thing because we are going back to a place that we've worked so hard to avoid or to get away from, there is this common misconception that triggers should be avoided or ignored. Because if we don't pay attention, then it goes away. And so many believe that by avoiding situations or people that trigger us, we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine because then we are not allowing that toxicity to come into our environment. However, this way of thinking fails to acknowledge that the core wound, that open scar I talked about, will never fully close until we heal it. And buying into this illusion that we are controlling our external environment, that by avoiding experiences or situations or people, we are controlling how we feel, we cannot shield ourselves from the unexpected triggers that are beyond our control. Because we are buying into this illusion that we can control everything, but we can't. The only thing we are in control of is how we respond to those triggers. So healing requires us to confront these triggers, to address these underlying wounds. And by doing so, we are actually working on our self-healing. So it is important to understand that experiencing triggers and the resulting physical and emotional issues is not your fault. We weren't taught in school or growing up that it's okay to feel sad, or that it's okay to feel angry or even emotionally attached. Actually, it was projected onto us that feeling angry was a bad thing, that feeling sad was being weak. And so possibly other children make fun of you, calling you a crybaby if you were sad or crying all the time. Or if you are angry all the time, you might have been labeled as the difficult child in the class, or the difficult son or daughter. And so we might have grown up believing that we need to be fixed, that something is wrong with us, or that we have to fix situations around us in order to avoid feeling so emotional or so attached or so angry. But it's important to understand that it is not your fault that you might believe this is true. It was the conditioning growing up that made you believe that something is wrong with you, but it's not. You don't need fixing. You are just hurting. You just have wounds that need healing, and everyone has. There is not one single soul on this earth that doesn't have something to heal. We all do. And because you do have it, it doesn't mean that's something wrong with you. It is not. Healing is not to fix us. Self-healing is nothing to do about fixing what is assumed that's wrong with us. Healing is all to do with accepting all the parts of us, the good and the perceived bad, and loving these parts. So when you accept these triggers as invitations to go deeper and to work on your self-healing, you are actually just giving attention and love to those parts of you that didn't feel safe and still don't feel safe and that need love. And to begin this healing process, I will share with you 3 steps that you can start to take when you bring into your awareness that something around you or in your environment is triggering you. The first step is to recognize triggers for what they are. Meaning, when you give them a name, it helps you to step back from that emotional reaction and observe the triggers rather than being consumed by it. Step 2 is to identify the message or the invitations hidden within that trigger. Meaning, when you understand that the surface events that are causing discomfort are not happening to you, that they are merely memories that are surfacing from deep within you, and that are memories of unresolved wounds within you that are happening for you and for your highest good. I like to think that things don't happen to us. They happen for us. They happen so that we can grow and we can evolve and we can heal and become better versions of ourselves. So see these invitations hidden in the triggers as things that are happening for you rather than to you. And the third step is to reintegrate your emotions. So instead of avoiding or ignoring the discomfort of the emotions that are surfacing, try to sit with them, validate them, honor them, because they are real. They were real for you and they are real now. So they need to be validated. And reflect on how you feel. Name those emotions and allow yourself to fully experience and process them. Allow time for the emotions to percolate within you, for things to unfold, and treat yourself with kindness as well. That's really important. By taking these steps, you will start on this journey of self-healing and growth. But it's also important to remember that healing is a process, is not a destination, and is not something that can be achieved overnight. And the more layers we heal, the more layers we will have to peel in order to go deeper and deeper and heal the true core wounds that lie within us. But as you bravely explore yourself and your emotional landscape, you will then find power within you to alchemize those wounds into wisdom and not only reclaim but also accept your wholeness and embrace yourself in your wholeness. Because you then realize that what happened in the past just led you to become the strong person you are today. Before I love you and leave you, I will share with you the soul inquiry from my Trust Journaling deck. And the card that I pulled is from the Unravel suite. And the soul inquiry is: what do I seek in myself and my reality? What do I seek in myself and my reality? And the affirmation is: all of my hopes and dreams are within reach. I hope you have enjoyed this episode and that you resonated with the soul inquiry that came up. If you are interested in getting your hands on a Trust Journaling deck, there are only 2 decks available on my website. They are in stock and can be sent straight away. I will leave the link in the show notes. They will make a great Christmas present for anyone that is interested in self-healing and soul connection. And if you like more information about this deck, you can go back and re-listen to the podcast episodes titled 5 Stages of Healing Journey. And I walk you through the process of healing that this particular journaling deck works with. I will be back next week for another episode. Until then, I wish you all the blessings and all the healing in the world. Thank you for listening to the Sorcery Podcast and for holding space for this conversation. It is truly magical to be able to walk with you on this journey of soul healing and inner transformation. If you resonated with this episode and found it valuable, I would be grateful if you could leave a review on iTunes. Your feedback helps me reach more souls searching for guidance and healing. For more guidance and soul wisdom to support soul awakening women through the journey of alchemy, please visit my website www.ligiacosta.co.uk. Love and healing to all. See you on the next one.